Hi, do you know what today's thought? If you're one of the people watching this channel, I am going to assume that you are one of the people who watched the president's speech last night before a joint session of Congress. That was last night, the night before I'm recording this, and 2 nights before you're seeing it. But I'm going to assume that some of the highlights of the speech are still fresh in your memory. Now, I want to contrast a couple of, I'm going to show you a couple clips from that speech that will illustrate the point that I'm talking about. Now, the way it started, there was a lot of speculation before the speech, speculating on how the Democrats would behave, or to put it another way, would they behave? Because there's a lot of the TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, going around on the other side. And they are really, it's a combination of two things. Number one, they lost. That's number one. And Trump is in power. He's pretty much, in just a little over a month, just about reversed everything that Biden did, and is in the process of reversing other things and putting into place, or putting back into place, the policies that Biden overturned, that the Democrats, I guess they assumed were wrong. So that's one factor that is kind of, affecting them a little bit. And the other one is they are feeling how powerless they are. It's really, I am a little amazed myself. In the House, the Republicans have only a 2-vote majority. Only 2 Republicans have to vote against a particular bill, and the bill will fail, a particular Republican bill. On the other hand, the Democrats, maybe they should not be so surprised that these bills the work is getting done even with that small majority, because on the other side, the Democrats vote completely, 100%, unanimously against pretty much a lot of what definitely the tax cuts that are coming. And I hope, cross my fingers, knock on wood. And actually, that's not wood, that's fiberboard. But you get the idea. And then, there's some wood. Okay, I found some wood. No, that's ply. No, that was fiberboard too. Anyways, let's just hope that these tax cuts pass. If they don't, then it'll be an enormous, that's what I talked about in the previous thought. We're going to have an enormous tax increase on everybody, and the Democrats are fine with that. But what I was getting at is their powerlessness. They are so powerless right now, and they are feeling that too. Even though, and it must be especially frustrating, because the Republicans, the Democrats only have to peel off 2 votes, and they cannot do it. And it's got to be enormously frustrating to them. And, you have my sympathy. So, a little bit, I'll call them crocodile tears. Anyways, so there was a speculation, how would they react? How would they behave? And there were all kinds of talks about, pretty much what happened. They were being told by Nancy Pelosi and other the poobahs on top, don't make any scenes, just protest quietly. And you had some with the women wearing pink and holding up, they had these, I guess, bingo paddles. I guess that's what they're called. They use them in bingo games, or they look like ping pong paddles, but they had signs on there. And, that was supposed to, I don't know, I'm going to get to that in a moment, but the point is, before that happened, and that was bad enough, and we'll get to that, before that happened, there was, in the very beginning, when Trump, he had barely started speaking, and then you had all this heckling and noise and interruption from the Democrats. And one in particular, I'm going to show you this video. There's a right way and a wrong way, and I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to, surprise you and compliment a Democrat on the other side, how that Democrat reacted, which was, I thought, the right way. So let's start with the wrong way. This is Representative Al Green, Democrat representative, and, just watch.
Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber. Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you.
So maybe you heard all the shouting that preceded Al Green shaking the cane, and maybe you heard some of that. But that had gone on for quite a bit before the Speaker of the House, Johnson, started getting, well, he got impatient. You just saw that. And Al Green had to be, shaking his cane and shouting. If you couldn't make out what he was shouting, he was saying, you don't have a mandate, among other things. And never mind that Trump won all the swing states, yada, yada. So he had to be removed. And that is, to me, a prime example. One of my least and most disgusting and cringeworthy moments of that speech was what you just saw. Now that's exactly the wrong way to do it. Now I'm going to show you the right way. This happened a little later in the speech, and just watch this one.
With no end in sight, the United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense, with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
I never thought I would be complimenting Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. And by the way, I had to be very careful to say Pocahontas because I have a neighbor, she has a pet pig named Porcahontas. All right, she calls him, the pig's name is Porcahontas, so I had to be very careful. Say Pocahontas and don't say Porcahontas. So anyway, Pocahontas, but you just saw that. But that was the right way to react. She smiled and she laughed, and well, that was the right way to do it. If the Democrats had been quiet and laughed at certain parts instead of heckling, that would have been a lot better. Instead, they really gave a cringeworthy performance, and a lot of it was what they did not do. They just sat on their hands when Trump. Usually, I mean, you've always seen that from the Republicans when a Democrat president is giving a State of the Union or a speech before both houses of Congress, whatever, and you'll have just what Trump did. The president will point out and brings guests in the gallery and points them out. This is poor little Timmy who, whatever. And this is poor little Sally and with her tragic story, and which was alleviated by the Democrats, right? And so they tout that. But the Democrats all get up and they stand up and they applaud the person, and the Republicans do too, because that's not criticizing the president, that is applauding these people who deserve to be applauded. So you had at the speech last night, the night before I'm recording this, you saw well, there were people, especially this is the really ironic one. The child, the 13-year-old boy who had cancer. He was diagnosed with cancer several years previous. He was given 5 minutes to live, and here he still was. He always dreamed of being a police officer, and he even had his police officer. He had a little, pretend police officer's uniform, and then, well, of course, when he stood up, when Trump pointed him out, and he stood up, everybody applauded. All the Republicans did. Democrats, but just sat there. And they also had, and then Secret Service is a very touching moment that the Secret Service, the head of the Secret Service, made him a member of the Secret Service. And I have to correct somebody who reported it on the tube earlier today. He said it made him an honorary Secret Service agent. What I heard was they made him an actual Secret Service agent. So maybe he meant to say honorary. But anyway, it's very touching. But you saw this through the whole thing, holding up these paddles and wearing the pink uniforms. And they were also, I guess they decided not to do it. They were supposed to bring, or one of the things they were considering doing was bringing some empty egg cartons to, thank God, not real eggs, to throw at the president. They probably wouldn't have been let in with them anyhow. The sergeant of arms would not have let them in with the actual eggs, but empty egg cartons, and it's just acting like babies, basically. And the whole country is seeing this. And what they're seeing is, as I said in the title to today's thought, a confederacy of sourpusses. That's all they are. They are sourpusses. They don't know how. I'm just reminded of, this was way back when, during Clinton's first term, he was very liberal, went to the left. He lost for the Senate, which has happened, not too long ago. It happens every so often. The Republicans take the Senate, but the House had always been, the Republicans had not won the House since the 20s, 49 years, I believe that the number was, before they won the House. And there was one, Barney, why can't I remember his name? He was one of the representatives, and said, well, being family, the Republicans say they're family friendly, but I hope it's not they didn't tell us that it would be the Addams family. And very, funny doing it that way. But there are so, if the Democrats are trying to attract, get people to come back to them, unless Trump's term is disastrous, and it doesn't look like it's going to, well, time will tell, as they say, but they're not going to get Republicans, they're not going to get Democrats back that way, and they're not going to get back. I thought they put Elise Slotnick up there, newly elected senator in Michigan, and it was a big deal because Trump carried. It was one of the swing states that Trump carried, but the Democrat won the senatorial race to deliver the response. And I thought that was pretty. I actually could not watch all of her thing because I'll be very frank, my Democrat friends, I am always happy, just as I am on this vlog. I welcome comments for or against, pro or con, in the comment section. I'm always happy to listen to Democrats make their argument until I hear these two words. Number one, billionaires. If I hear the word billionaires, I turn off, I stop listening, because I'm really sick of the class warfare. And it's so hypocritical too, because you have to remember Bernie Sanders saying that, well, he used to say, we he would just rage against millionaires and billionaires, millionaires and billionaires. You got, blah, 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 millionaires and billionaires, and blah, 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 millionaires and billionaires, until it was revealed that he, Bernie Sanders, is a millionaire. He owns 3 houses. He's a millionaire. He owns 3 houses. He didn't have much response to that when he was confronted on that. But now he only says billionaires. So if you think that's as the saying goes, if you think that that's a coincidence, I have a bridge I could sell you. Well, actually, I don't. The Brooklyn Bridge, because my father emigrated from Czechoslovakia, and when he got off the boat, first thing he did, a guy came up to him and asked him if he wanted to buy the Brooklyn Bridge. He bought the Brooklyn Bridge, and my father, in his generosity, because he loved this country so much, said, "It's my bridge, but I'm not going to put my name on it. You can keep calling it the Brooklyn Bridge, and I'm going to let you use it for free." So it's everybody gets the Brooklyn Bridge for free, but I promised my father, he made us all promise, his children, that we would not give it away or sell the Brooklyn Bridge. So I can't frankly give you or sell you the Brooklyn Bridge, but you get the idea. And so now they talk about billionaires. So that's the one word, and the other word is democracy, which she said. She just went. I just found it unlistenable when they make this call Trump a threat to democracy, and they think they're. A bunch of people called the White Rose. If little history, if you don't know who the White Rose was, and you can be forgiven if you don't. It's not American history, it's world history, or it's German history, and they're not well known. But the White Rose were during Hitler's being in power, the Nazi Party, during when he was in power. They were a group of college students who protested Hitler. They printed leaflets, and they spread them all over, anti-Nazi leaflets, and they were unfortunately discovered. What happened, interesting story, they were printing these flyers in, they were using a room in the university where they went, and one of the flyers got loose, went out floated out the window and down into a yard, and a janitor saw the leaflet, looked up at the window, and they were arrested, and they were all executed. So they, in other words, put resistance, not resistance fighters, but you get the idea, and I guess resistance protesters, and the Democrats seem to think that that's the role they're playing today, and they're not. They're just silly. And Trump was elected. He was overwhelmingly elected. And by the way, just to bust another little myth, Adolf Hitler was not elected. Okay, he was elected to the Reichstag or whatever, but he was not. He was appointed. By Hindenburg. He was appointed chancellor, all right, leader of Germany. He was not elected. But either way, any way you want to put it, the idea is that these people, it's just your cookie cutter. Well, he's, very different, but basically your cookie cutter election, cookie cutter president. He's exercising his constitutional powers. Whenever he's gotten a court order to stop something he's doing, he obeyed the court order. The most recent one was he put a halt on some $2 billion of foreign aid. A group went to court, and he was ordered not to do it. It just went to the Supreme Court. He asked for an emergency order to be able, emergency ruling to be able to stop the aid. The Supreme Court ruled them against him, not on the merits. This, you have to remember, all these suits, all before, because I've been every time I see one of these suits, I look up the judge, Wikipedia, who appointed the judge, and they all are. There are 2 or 3 that were appointed by John Roberts. I guess that could be appointed by the Supreme Court Justice, but other than that, they are all appointees of either. Maybe there's a Bill Clinton appointee in there, I think, but Barack Obama or Joe Biden. So what you're seeing here is judge shopping. They are bringing these suits. They are cherry picking these Democrat-appointed judges to bring these suits that the judge then applies to the entire country. But what the Supreme Court has ruled is we are not going to grant we're not going to take the case up now. We're not going to give you an emergency order. What we are going to do is we just have to wait until they work their way through the cases, work their way through the lower courts. They will eventually get to the Supreme Court, and there will be the issue will be adjudicated, and you just need one of those cases, and then it will really affect all of them, because the basic question is the president's powers, it's separation of powers. The president, the Constitution, Article 2, first sentence, the executive power shall be vested in not many, a president of the United States. And a basic, one of the most basic duties of executive power is or abilities is the power to hire and fire. Imagine if the president said to a congressperson or just to the Congress, say, okay, well, I don't like that sergeant at arms, and you have to fire that person, or any other this aide, fire that aide, the head of this congressional, say the OMB, Office of Management and Budget. I think they are the Joint Committee on Taxation. If the president ordered somebody to fire, or if, put it the other way around, if Congress fired somebody working for Congress, and the president said, no, don't fire that person, I want that person back, do you think the Congress would do it? No. And if the president went to the Supreme Court and said, took the case to the Supreme Court, do you think that the president would win? That the Supreme Court would rule that under our Constitution, with its separation of powers, that the president has the power to fire members of Congress or members of the Supreme Court, and said, Justice Roberts, fire that clerk. And hire this, fire that clerk. And you think the Supreme Court would do it? But the Congress seems to have gotten this idea that they could prevent the president from firing anybody he wants to. And they have this idea of created certain independent agencies. That hasn't really been, there's a 1935 case that kind of allows it, and may allow it, but basically the Supreme Court is going to have to revisit that case and either affirm it or overrule it. And this, as we saw with Roe v. Wade, we have a conservative Supreme Court that is not afraid of overruling earlier cases, precedents, if they're bad precedents. So that's where I guess I got off on a track here, but that's where our Democrat friends are getting in a little trouble there, because if that ruling comes down the way I think it will, then all these cases go away, and the president can just hire, never mind, these independent agencies will no longer be independent. There will be no such thing. And then bye-bye administrative state. And I would even say that the president would have the power to fire Jay Powell, to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve, which personally I think is right, because just as there are different judicial philosophies, there are different economic policies. There are your Keynesians, and there's the Austrian school. I won't go off in detail, but you can just, the same way, the president has the right to, if you have a Keynesian, if he comes to office and there's a Keynesian chairman of the Fed, and he believes in von Mises in the Austrian school, which is a completely opposite economic philosophy, he has the right to replace the one with the other, the person that was there, and replace it with somebody who who has the same economic philosophy that he, the president, does. So I guess I've taken it, just to wind it up and get back to the original point. The Democrats, I just don't know how the Trump administration is going to have to be very, very bad before people are going to want to take them seriously again. And that's never minding these horrible votes. They filibustered a vote on a law to keep men out of women's sports, and they vetoed. They filibustered that, so they were able to stop that. And to me, that alone is so obviously against how the American people feel. Well, you saw Trump mentioned keeping men out of women's sports in his speech, and you saw the reaction, and the reaction of the public. I'll close on this, because the poll, as I always do, polls were taken after the speech, and it was 70-something, over 70% positive, very positive. The public likes what Trump is doing. They do not regret electing him, and the Democrats, if they want to win, they got to stop with the Trump derangement syndrome and start arguing for their positions and be honest. I guess I keep saying I'm going to end, and I don't. Be honest. Don't skirt around issues if you want win or lose on your issues, because, well, actually, this could be a whole other thought. So I'll just end for here. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate your watching my channel. That was my thought. I am always eager to hear your thoughts. So they are welcome in the comment section below the video. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.